As things started to unravel in mid-March, our leadership teams came together. We had a 2-week planning period. We created, a mini job keeper of our own. It was around a goal that we had of having zero redundancy throughout the COVID period. We've had a big focus on our staff from the health and wellbeing perspective. We've got our operations manager accredited as a mental health first aid officer.
Today on the Adapt series, we're talking about the state of the events industry in South Australia with Leko Novakovic, the Managing Director of Novatech Creative Event Technology. So please click on the hashtag AdaptSA in this LinkedIn post and then click follow or like Nucleus on Facebook to keep up to date with the latest COVID business trends. So let's hear what Leko has to say. Well, Leko, it's great to have you joining us here as part of the Adapt series. Now, it's my understanding that basically all major events in Australia have been put on hold, and certainly here in South Australia until 2021. And that's your bread and butter. That's what Novatech do. But you've managed to keep all of your staff employed. Now, that's a big ask, even with JobKeeper, when you've got 80 staff and your whole industry is being brought to a standstill. Can you talk us through how you've kept your staff employed and what the future outlook is for Novatech?
Thanks, Brenton. Yeah, it's been a very tough year, that's for sure. We were fortunate enough that our teams were able to get through the last weekend of both Adelaide Festival and Fringe, with the world coming to a grinding halt on that following Monday. From then, we've pretty much had no events, except for some virtual events. Our first real virtual event post-COVID was a Santos AGM in April, and it was a bit of a challenge to get that put together, but it was praised by the ASX as being not only the first virtual AGM, but one of the most successful ones. As things started to unravel in mid-March, our leadership teams came together. We had a 2-week planning period, and we created, a mini job keeper of our own before it was even, revealed by the government, and which was around a goal that we had of having zero redundancy throughout the COVID period and to keep our staff engaged. And that's basically what we did. We rolled out the new contracts to all our staff, and then we basically started working through lists of special projects, repairs and maintenance, updating policy procedures, and more importantly, keeping in touch with all our clients and just making sure that all our staff were engaged. And events-wise, we've just done mainly some virtual and hybrid events, from wine tastings to product launches to board meetings and AGMs. And people are needing something a bit more reliable than a standard sort of Zoom call for those types of events. So that's what we've been working on at the moment.
Yeah. And I would imagine to keep your staff moving, you have to stay positive, and that's pretty tough in this environment. So how do you keep positive, and how do you keep your staff being positive based on all the changes that you've been experiencing?
Yeah, look, I'm a positive person at the best of times. I try to think that the glass is always half full rather than half empty, and that positivity does breed positivity. It's been my mantra through this whole period. I need to stay positive not only for myself, but for my business and my staff and my family and for our clients. So as a business, as we mentioned, I've just tried to keep in touch with our staff, our clients, keep conversations open. Our state's doing really well on the health front, I think, and I think it needs to sort of really come out of this strongly and lead by example. We've had a big focus on our staff from the health and wellbeing perspective. We've had a health and wellbeing plan for about 3 or 4 years. But since over the COVID period, we've got our operations manager accredited as a mental health first aid officer. We've been offering free counselling to all our staff. Our annual health checks and flu shots have all been in play. And we've done a few more activities like bringing in people to talk to us about like healthy eating and dieting, engaged My Budget to come in and talk to our guys about some personal finance situational things. And we've got a training day coming up with 36ers. So we're just trying to keep things active and healthy at this time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a lot actually with your staff. That's really impressive. So from your viewpoint, how has the events industry changed? And as we recover, the things that we've learned as we've had to adapt through the pandemic, how do you believe that's going to influence the way we run events moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. I wish I had a crystal ball for it. It's going to be a long road to recovery. There's just a lot of financial pressure for a lot of our suppliers and our clients through this period. Events, the first to sort of stop and being touted as the last to come back in. I do think virtual and hybrid style events will be here for at least the short term. I think it's important that we make those online events engaging. I think, there's a bit of this thing called Zoom fatigue creeping in, and people don't want to stare at a computer all day long. So it's about coming up with ways to make those online events more exciting and more engaging. So there's a lot happening in that space. I think events will look different for a long time after this, as far as social distancing and stuff. I think that's going to be here to stay for a while. So I think the events community just needs to work with local government and health officials and go, how can we get live events back online, and what do we need to do to modify those, and just adapt that way.
Yeah. Can you tell us just a little bit more about hybrid events? Because obviously we're all starting to move into networking again, and we're going out, and we ran an event last night and we had 30 people there. You can't, go a little bit larger, but it's kind of contained. So if a business was looking to run a hybrid event, what could they expect, and what could they expect as a result from Novatech?
Look, hybrid events are about having a live audience and an online audience, and I think trying to connect the two is really important. I think it's important for the online audience at home to see that there is a live audience and vice versa, and have some interactivity there. So we're doing that with Q&A portals and little breakout rooms online, stuff like that. So it's just open to the imagination, and I think we just need to come up with different ways, and we're looking at just ways to make sure that we're just not staring at the screen and it's one way. It's going to be like a two-way engagement. So just working with our clients and how can we do that.
Yeah, great. And so based on your experience, what advice would you have for business leaders out there who are doing it tough at the moment, but also for the businesses that are thriving?
Yeah, look, keep it positive, and keep planning your projects and your events with various scenarios in mind. I think, we don't want to just go, it's too hard and let's stop doing it. I think we need to be persistent. I think it's worth clients engaging professionals in different areas of expertise to guide them through that process, and just talk about what sort of options are available. I think the positivity piece is paramount, and that's what will help keep your staff and your clients engaged and find the best way forward. Just really surrounding yourself with experts in their field, true collaboration. I think that's how these events will be delivered to their best possible standards, by everyone working together. It's unknown, it's a new thing, so if many minds, put all the good thoughts into the tank, so hopefully something positive comes from it. Yeah,
great. And look, business events really are a lifeblood of the economy. When we were talking to Adelaide Convention Bureau, they were saying that about $2 billion is the flow on from running business events. So I can see that these hybrid events will be a pathway back to that. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to get active and you want to start, really getting business moving, I would suggest contact Leko and the team at Novatech and explore the options with hybrid events, and of course live events as per the way we can do them at the moment. But it seems like a really good way to actually, again, stay positive and get things moving. So Leko, I'd like to end by asking, what are your final thoughts? What were the final things that you want to say to the people who are listening today?
Look, we know it's tough for many people at the moment, both personally and professionally. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, your clients. I think that human interaction is really important through the hard times. And look, we're willing to help out any way we can.
Yeah, thanks very much, Leko. And look, we're really looking forward to getting these events rolling again. I miss seeing you at events when we go out, because you seem to always be around and have your team there working on different things. So I look forward to catching up with you soon for a coffee and being at an event with you in the not too distant future.
Thanks, Brenton.
You're welcome.